Massive, powerful, untouchable empires don't collapse because of one big battle or one bad king. Nope. They fall because of something so quiet, so sneaky, so invisible. You'd miss it even if you were living right in the middle of it. And here's the crazy part. The same hidden force that crushed Rome, bankrupted Spain, hijacked the Ottoman Empire, and drained Britain after two world wars is happening again today, right now, in real time, in ways most people have absolutely no idea about. And before you think, well, history was messy, things are different now. Nah, when you line up the numbers, the policies, the decisions, the patterns are identical, and once you see how it all works, you won't be able to unsee it. Suddenly, the chaos in modern economies starts making way more sense. So in this video, I'm going to show you the debt no government wants to talk about, the debt that has silently taken down the greatest powers in human history, and the debt that might be shaping the world you're living in right now. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll understand something most people never do. Let's get into it. 1. What exactly is hidden debt? When people think of debt, they imagine a big number on a government website, like national debt, $33 trillion. But that's only the visible debt. The real danger is the money that governments owe, but never put on the official balance sheet. Things like pension promises, social security obligations, future healthcare costs, unfunded military expenses, bailout guarantees, interest commitments, currency debasement. It's similar to someone who tells you, don't worry, I only owe $2,000, but they conveniently forget to mention 3 maxed out credit cards, a car loan, and money borrowed from their cousin. Hidden debt is the same thing, just on a national scale. And as you're about to see, once an empire begins relying on hidden debt to survive, the countdown begins. 2. The Roman Empire, the original debt crisis. Everybody knows Rome was powerful, but few people realize Rome had a spending problem the size of an entire continent. They were fighting wars everywhere, building infrastructure everywhere, and feeding millions through grain subsidies. The government needed more money than taxes could provide. So what did they do? They pulled the oldest trick in the book. They debased their currency. Roman coins used to be almost pure silver. But as expenses grew, emperors quietly reduced the silver content, first 10% less, then 30% less, and eventually some coins had almost no silver at all. This was the ancient version of printing money. People lost trust, prices skyrocketed, tax revenue crashed, and when soldiers stopped accepting the money, the empire broke apart. Hidden debt through fake money was one of the key forces that brought Rome down. 3. Spain, drowning in silver, but broke on paper. Now let's jump to the 1500s. Spain becomes the richest empire in the world after discovering mountains of silver in the Americas. You would think that makes them financially unstoppable. But nope, because the government borrowed aggressively, expecting more silver shipments in the future. The bankers in Europe thought Spain was guaranteed to repay, but the empire didn't see the trap. More silver meant more money. More money meant inflation. Inflation meant higher prices. Higher prices meant their silver was worth less every year. What's wild is that Spain declared bankruptcy several times, despite having more silver than any country in history. This is what hidden debt does. It tricks even the wealthiest nations into believing they can't go broke. But they can. 4. The Ottoman Empire, when debt hands power to outsiders. The Ottoman Empire controlled massive parts of Europe, Asia, and Africa for centuries. But as the world modernized, the Ottomans struggled to keep up with military spending, government salaries, and infrastructure. So they borrowed money, a lot of money. And when they couldn't repay, European creditors stepped in and said, okay, since you can't pay us, we'll manage your taxes ourselves. This actually happened. Foreign powers literally took over the empire's finances. Once an empire loses control of its money, it's no longer an empire, and the collapse became unavoidable. This is hidden debt at its worst, when the debt becomes so heavy that outsiders gain control. 5. The British Empire, winning wars, losing wealth. Fast forward to the 1800s and early 1900s. Britain is the most powerful empire in the world. They dominate global trade. They control the oceans. They run the largest colonial network in history. But then one thing happens. War. War is the quickest way for nations to drown in hidden debt. The British Empire spent enormous amounts fighting Napoleon, then World War I, then World War II. The official military budgets were staggering, but the hidden costs, pensions, rebuilding, interest payments, were even bigger. By 1945, the UK owed so much money that over 40% of government revenue went directly to paying interest alone. The empire didn't collapse all at once. It bled out slowly through debt, and eventually the British pound lost its status as the global reserve currency, replaced by the US dollar. The pattern repeats again and again. 6. The pattern. All collapsed empires share. When you look at Rome, Spain, the Ottomans, and Britain, the pattern is identical. Every empire goes through these steps. 1. They spend more than they earn. 2. They hide the debt using tricks. 3. Inflation rises. 4. The public loses trust. 5. Foreign lenders gain influence. 6. The empire collapses from the inside. It's never sudden. It's always slow, quiet, and invisible until it's too late. This pattern is happening again. Today you might think, okay, but that's ancient history, right? Nations today are smarter? Not exactly, because modern nations are deeper in hidden debt than any empire before them. Let's break it down. The United States official debt, extremely high but hidden debt, over $200 trillion in unfunded pensions, medical programs, and insurance guarantees, according to estimates by economists like Lawrence Kotlikoff. China official debt looks moderate, but hidden debt through local governments, state-owned enterprises, and real estate guarantees has exploded Japan. A shrinking population means fewer workers paying taxes and massive unfunded pension promises. Emerging markets countries like Argentina, Egypt, Pakistan borrow heavily in US dollars, creating hidden currency mismatch debt that destroys their local economies. Hidden debt isn't rare anymore. It's the standard operating procedure for governments. 8. The 5 warning signs an empire's entering decline. History tells us that an empire enters the danger zone when it shows 3 or more of these symptoms. 1. Rising inflation. Once governments rely on printing money, purchasing power collapses. 2. Falling productivity. A shrinking or aging workforce makes promises harder to fund. 3. Expanding social spending. Too many promises, not enough revenue. 4. Massive military or global commitments. History shows these are expensive beyond imagination. 5. Currency devaluation. When the world loses faith in an empire's money, the fall accelerates. If you look around globally, many nations are checking multiple boxes. What individuals can do without panic. You can't control what governments do, but you can protect yourself like people did throughout history. Diversify your assets. Don't keep everything in one currency or one type of investment. Understand inflation hedges. Assets like gold, real estate, index funds, and productive businesses historically hold value better than cash. Learn financial literacy because the people who survive economic transitions are the people who understand them. Avoid personal high-interest debt. The empire may fall, but your own financial empire shouldn't. Final message. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Empires are temporary. Debt is permanent until something breaks. The hidden debts that destroyed Rome, Spain, the Ottomans, and Britain are the same hidden debts rising today. But here's the difference. You have access to more information than any generation before you. If you stay aware, stay educated, and stay strategic, you can protect yourself while the world changes around you. Empires fall, but individuals who understand money always rise. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure you subscribe for more financial wisdom and share this with someone who needs to understand the truth behind economic history. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.